All right, that's good. Thank you very much. So, as a last week, all right. So, as a last week, some people called that they were unable to import the data sets that we used, right? So a lot of people, like two people called me. So let me ask, how many of us has been able to import the data in? How many of us has been able to import the data in? How many of us have been able to import the data? All right. Emeka's iPhone is raising hand. Please unmute.
I have, I
Okay.
have,
To
but
God be the glory.
no. See what happened.
Okay.
I did not touch because later I
Mm,
now realized that if you don't, when you import
mm,
that platform or the dialog box whereby you enable the different types of data types,
yeah.
I did not touch that area.
Okay, so you just imported
Wait,
it in normal.
directly. So
Okay,
my
that's good.
intention is to update it while
Okay.
inside there. So that's why I've been trying to update. The especially the date itself.
Yeah, don't
There's a
worry.
way
We are
to
still going to talk about this. Don't worry. Just leave it. Since you've been able to install import it in, don't worry about it. We are still going to talk more about the dates. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello. All right. Aneke Frank is raising hand. Please unmute.
Hello,
Yeah, good
good
evening, boss.
evening. I was actually one of those that can reach out to you based on that importing of data.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I was able to import it this week. I later figure out my issue,
That's the
which is
spirit.
because I was thinking that it was based on the data set that you sent. I
Okay.
now try another data set
Hmm.
after I save it to CSV, but it was still repeating the set after importing. I can't see the contents of the file, but what I'm seeing
Okay.
is just the heading. But the mistake is that I didn't select the data that I didn't select the data
The
type I
data.
want the
Okay.
data to be imported into. That was
Okay.
the issue that
That's
I
good.
had.
That's good. That's good.
So
All right.
that's good.
Thank you very much for that. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Like I always say, we can only teach you some parts. We can't teach you 100%. There is no computer institute that will teach you tech in 100%. Right? No matter the course you're trying to learn. So the thing is, you try your best to also learn more on your own. Because even if we are saying, okay, we are going to teach you everything, there are still a whole lot of new updates that will be coming up every single time. Do we all understand? So just try to learn more on your own. Try to develop more. That's how you become better. Do we all understand? So it's not like, okay, you don't want to tell me that, oh, I've learned data analysis, I've learned SQL, right, and I want to stop there. No. You have to keep on learning. That is the spirit. You have to keep on learning and learning and learning. So, how many of us are ready to learn on our own today? How many of us are ready to keep on developing and keep on learning? Hmm? Is there anybody here? Laura, good evening. How you doing? All right, that's good. That's the spirit. That's how we become better, just by learning every single day. All right, so let's get started. Don't let me talk too much. We've wasted a lot of our time. So let's just get started. So last week we were talking about updating. Last 2 week rather, I did not take you last week. So we were talking about updating, right? And I told you that you have to set your SQL save mode to be equals to 0. I said that, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to rerun this, right? I'm just going to rerun it, rerun. So it's turned off my save mode, right? So I'm going to choose the database that I want to use, which is sales, right? So I'm going to run it also. Now let's see the data that we are dealing with. We've been able to add our primary key, right? We've been able to add primary key with code, right? So let's just see the data set we are dealing with. And here we are. This is the data set we are dealing with. So let's change some things there. So let's change something. We've been able to add the total selling price, the total cost price, and the profits, right? So now let's add our product, right? Well, let's say we want to change a name. Let's say we want to change this first person's name. This is the customer ID of 10,077. We want to change the name to Laura, right? Anything, good evening. We want to change the name to Laura. So in that situation, remember that I said whenever you want to do anything to the content of a cell, you use what? Update. You want to do anything to the content of a table, you use update. But if whatever you are doing deals with the column, you want to change the column name, you want to change the data type of a column, you remember we did alter, right? So you use alter to deal with the column. OR says, good evening, good evening. So you use alter to deal with columns. But whenever you want to change a content of a cell, you use what? Update, right? Or you want to add something to a content of a cell, right? So to the content of a data, the contents that you have inside of a table, you use update. So now, what I want to do now is changing. My voice is cracking, is that correct? Can you all hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Is my voice still cracking? Yes or no? Let me know if my voice is still cracking. It's clear, right? Madam Rita, it might be your network. Crystal clear. That's good. Tina, good evening. Madam Rita, it's just check your network too. Check your network. All right. Madam Rita, please do check your network. It might be your network. All right. So what I want to change is Laura, are you in support that we will change the first customer to your name? Laura, are you in support? All right. So Laura is a superstar tonight. So we are going to use your name, Laura Umari, changing the contents of a cell. All right. So let's do that. So I want to change this customer's name, right? So there are actually different ways you can change a customer's name, or you can change the content of a cell, right? But the very first thing, remember I said when dealing with a relational database management system, it must have a unique identifier, right? So what exactly can we use to identify this customer? What can we use to identify the customer? So the customer number one here, which is the very first customer that we have in our list, in our data here, the very first thing you have to ask yourself, what can I use to identify? So who can tell me what are the things we can use to identify this customer? What are the things we can use to identify this customer? What are the things? The gender, right? But its gender is not unique, right? Something that is unique. If you're using gender, we have a lot of females right here. Yes, customer ID. We have the customer ID, right? And mind you, we can also use the order ID, right? We can use the order ID. We can use the customer ID. But now there is no serial number here. If you look, there is no serial number, right? Now the question is, what is that? We can also use the customer's name, right? But now let's now debunk something. So let's think. If we use the customer ID or the order ID, let's start here. If we use the order ID, What if the customer order more than once? So which means they are going to be changing their ID, right? So you are the first customer, your order ID is 400. If you come back maybe 3-4 hours later, right, you might be your order ID might be 405. So which means is not unique to you. You may have duplicates, right? The customer can come and buy as many times as possible. Now, if we use the name, I'm coming back to this customer ID. If we use the name, right, two people can bear the same name and the same surname. Correct? Is that correct? Two people can bear the same name and the same surname, and they are shopping in the same supermarket. That's correct, right? How many of you agree with me on that? Yes, that's good. So, which means the name is also not unique. Now, what is unique here is the customer ID. So as you are coming, you are getting, if you come in for the first time, you will get an ID, right? That, okay, oh, as a customer, this is your ID. This is what we use to identify you. So which is a unique identifier. Are you getting it now? If you remember when I was explaining relational database management system, I told you that a relational database management system must have what? There are two things that I gave you that day. What are the two things? A relational database must have two things. An ID, right? There must be a unique identifier. That's what I mean, right? It might not be ID, it might be anything, right? But it must be a unique identifier. It must have a unique identifier, right? That is the primary key. Thank you for that. Then there's also one more thing. If you are dealing with a relational database management system, what is the second thing? What is the second thing? Can you tell me the second thing? What is the second thing? I gave you two things that day. Who can remind me? Is there anybody that can remind me? I've forgotten now. Tell me. Eh? I've taken too much medication, so I've forgotten. Who can remind me? Hey, you people have used it to eat. Eh? It must thank you, Madam Rita. It's only you that you are serious student. Other people, they are not okay. Everybody is now forming serious. To God be the glory. Yes, it must be structured, right? It must be in a row and a column. That's good. So now we are dealing with our unique identifier here, right? So to do that, all right. So what we're going to do now is we want to change this Teresa folk, right, to Rita, to Laura, right, to Laura. So what are we going to do? Update. I want to update the table name is retail, right? Update retail. You know, I love to break my code down, right? Set customer's name. Now, remember I said SQL is case sensitive, so you can use a lowercase or uppercase. Set customer name to be equals to what? Laura. Laura Omari, right? Now, if I should run this code like this is going to change all the customers' name at once, right? All the customers' name. So I need to give it a condition to look out for. Do you understand? So because I said update retail set customer's name equals Laura, right? If I should run it like this, it's going to change all the customers' name. So what I'll do here is to give it a condition. Thank you very much. Where the customer ID, where the customer ID is equals to what? Is equals to what is the customer ID of the person that I want to change. So in as much as we are using the same customer ID, the customer ID is unique to that person, right? So we can always, so no matter the number of times the person appears or the number of times the customer's ID appears, is going to automatically change it. Do you understand? So where customer ID is equals to what? 10,077. Do you understand? Where customer ID is equals to 10,077. So I'll close this code, then run. All right, as you can see, I did not have an error, right? And remember two things. Number one is I put my where clause, right? That is the condition that I'm looking for, right? And another thing is I've turned off my save mode. So I can update now. Remember that the very first code I ran today was to turn off my save mode, right? So I turn it off. Then after that, I updated this. Now let's see if it has taken effect. Select all from retail, run. And as you can see, we have Laura Umari right here. Are we good? Are we getting it? Do we understand this? Do we understand this? All right, that is good. That is good. That is good. So, I'm not going to use, but that's the basic way. That's the way of updating customers' information. Whatever you want to do, that's how we do that, right? And another thing is we can actually set more than one thing at once, right? We can set more than one thing at once. So let's use Madam Rita now. So I want to change so just give me an ID. So I think we have a lot of IDs right here. So 10,000 and I think it's 10,001 to 10,000 and I don't know, but we are still going to use max, but let's just give me like an ID. Madam Rita. So which ID? Okay, let's use 10,124. All right. So let's do it again. So now let's say we want to change this 10,124, which is Beta Smith, right? We want to change it to Madam Rita. So, and we want to change the country from Vietnam to Canada, something like that, right? Right. And also we want to change the quantity um to be equals to the quantity should be equals to maybe 15 or something, right? So you can set more than one thing at once, right? So I can do update the table name retail, right? Set customer name underscore name to be equals to let me look for that Madam Rita name. Okay. UFOH Rita. Then we can go ahead and say and what? And country. We've not gotten to the date, don't worry, we will get there. And country to be equals to Canada. And country to be equals to Canada. And also, right, so let me break this down a bit. So and quantity to be equals to 15, right? Where customer ID is equals to what? Is equals to 10,124. Where is that? Oh, this is 10,024. Let's look for 10,000. All right. I don't want to use select statement now, but let's use this 10,024. Don't worry, after this, we'll go to select the statement. So where the customer ID, I'm sorry, Obianoju, right? Let's just use 10,024. 24. Now remember, we are changing the customer's name, we are changing the country, we are changing the quantity. So if this code is correct, as you can see, there is no any error. So let's run. All right, we have an error. Let's see. Error code is telling me we have double truncated. Where is that error coming from? Okay, we can actually use comma instead of and also. Comma, I think that should do it. Let's run. Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, we can use comma instead of that and. So we'll just put comma there, right? I'm using and. And is supposed to be with where clause, not here. Made a mistake. All right. This is actually my first error that I ran, right? Since we started this SQL. Is that correct? This happens to be my first error code. Hmm? Correct or not? It's good. That's part of life. I thought whenever we are, yes, you can use, you can, no, it's not, it's not two ash, you can use one, right? Where I said two is hyphen. If you are using hyphen, you use two hyphen, right? If you are using hyphen, you use two hyphen. If you are using ash, you use one ash. Do you get it? Robert Fit. All right. Well, it's normal. That's why I said it's not. Nobody can tell me that he's an expert. He or she is an expert in something. Obviously, you are going to run an error. It's normal, especially when you are dealing with coding and stuff. Error is part of life, so you get used to it. So when I can't remember the last person, someone called me. I was like, "Mr. Akim, I'm running an error. Oh, I'm doing this." Calm down. We are used to it. It happens. Yeah. So now let's check what we did. 10,000. Now you can see for the name has changed, the country has changed, the product has also changed, right? The product has also changed. So if you look at these, our total selling price, total cost price, and profit has actually not taken any effect, right? It does not take any effect on it. So what we're going to do here is to actually rerun this code. Total cost price, we will rerun it. Total selling price, we will run it, and our profit, we will run it so that we have the correct calculation there. So let's select all. Now, if you look, it's normal, right? So that is for the updates. Now let's go to the select statement. After the updates, those are the things we do under updates, but there are still a whole lot. But where we use the where statement, right, is part of select statement. So we are going to build more on select statement today, right? So now if you're talking about querying SQL, now we are going into querying SQL, that is requesting for an information in SQL. Do you understand? So we want to request for an information in SQL. So now what we're going to talk about now is select statement. Do we understand it up to this point before I move to the next thing? Do we understand it up to this point? All right. Well, we've written a lot of code. We've written like 45 lines. Maybe we are becoming a pro, right? We are becoming a pro. We are becoming a pro. Okay, now let's go to select statement. So the very first select statement is, let's say they want to see all the quantity, right? That is all the customer that comes from USA alone. All the customer that comes from USA alone. That's the information they want to see. So the question is, select all the customers that come from or that are in USA, right? So we want to get all our customers that reside in USA. Now, how do we do that? Let's deal with this first. So let's get all the customers that come from USA. Now, we are still going to use this our where clause, right? So I'm going to say select all from retail. We are used to this, right? Select all from retail. What will this give me if I run this code? Who can guess? Do you think this will give me all the customers that come from USA or what? What do you think? What do you think? Who can guess? Raise your hand and unmute, or if you want to type, let's be fast. All the columns. It's going to return all the information for me, right? Thank you very much. It's going to return everything because I'm not specific. Yes, thank you. Now we're now going to say where what? Country is what? Equals to USA. Shikena. Where country is equals to USA. That's all. So it's going to select all from our retail where country is equals to USA. So let's run this and see. All right, if you look at it, here we have it. And another thing you can do is, if they ask you, okay, how many customer comes from USA, you can actually count, right? I think you can do something like count. You can, okay, let me put it somewhere. Let's write it elsewhere. Don't let us. So we want to see the count, right? So what they asked us to do now is they said, no, we made a mistake here. I don't need the name. I need the total number, right? So we want to see how many customers, because we can't be counting it like this. Laura comes from USA, right? Other people come from USA. The question is, how many are they? How many customer comes from USA? I just don't want to see the name. When I ask you to select all, I don't need the name. I need the quantity. How many of them, right? How many customer? That's what I want. Does that make sense? So total, does that make sense? Number of customer that comes from USA comes, or let's say that in USA. All right. So actually, what we can do is we can count the total number of other ID, right? How many transactions do we have in USA, right? How many transactions do we have in USA? So we can do select, or what they ask us to do is the total number. So we can say select count distinct, count what? All from our table name retail, right? So it's still the same thing. We are just counting where country is equals to USA. So let's run this. All right, here we have 38. So basically, this is 38 transaction in USA. This doesn't really give us the number of customer that we have in USA. Do you get it? So this is just going to count the number of rows that are there from people that is the product that they purchase, right? So basically, this is telling me that, okay, this is the total number of transaction, right? This is the total number of transaction. Do you get it? So, but this does not really give me the total number of customer. So I'm going to change this to total transaction. Total transaction. Total transaction. Let's say in USA. Total transaction in USA. Are you lost? Are you lost? I'm intentionally breaking it down bit by bit so that you understand it though. Are you lost? Hmm? Are you still here? You are lost. You are following, right? All right. So now, let's now go back to our question. So far, so good. All right, that's good. So, total number of customers that come that are in USA. That is the question. How many customers? So, out of these 38, we have a duplicate. Customer can buy more than once. One customer can buy more than once, right? They can buy 3 times, 4 times, right? So their duplicate is going to be, it's going to be, it's just going to count all the rows. Now, what they want us to do is the customer. So let's say, select all the customers that are total customer. Select the total customer. The total customer. Now, that is how many customers we have. So the very first thing is, let's select distinct. Distinct means unique. Distinct. Now we want to count the customer. So let's use the customer's name. Customer name, customer, or we can use their ID because two customer can bear the same name and the same surname, correct? So we don't want to make that mistake. So let's use their ID, customer ID, right? From retail, all these things are what you're going to be thinking about when you are dealing with data, right? You have to always have it at the back of your mind. So select distinct customer ID from retail where customer, where country rather, where country is equals to USA. USA. Now, we have to run this. Oh, let's run this. Now, this gives me all the customer ID, but we are not sure. Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming. I will show you the reason why I'm not using count. But we are not sure if they're actually in USA, right? We are not sure. But how can we be sure? Because we put the condition here, right? We've already put the condition here in SQL. So that is giving us the assurance. Now that we've gotten the distinct, there is no any duplicates here. So this has removed duplicate. Distinct is the same thing as unique. So what distinct will do for me is it's going to select the unique value, right? So it's going to select the unique value for me. Now I'm very sure that there are no duplicates here, right? So now to now answer this question now, I'm going to put the code down here so that I don't mix the two together, right? I can now put count. So it's now going to count it for me. Count distinct customer ID. So let me put answer here so that you don't mix it up when you get the code. So this is the answer, right? So this will now count it for me, right? It's now going to count it. How many are they? Now, remember, if you just use count here, we are not sure if they are duplicates or they are not duplicates. We are just counting all. But now, because we are using distinct here, this will give us the unique customer ID. Remove duplicates. Do you get it? It's going to remove the duplicate and give us the unique ID. Now, we are now counting the unique ID here. What are we doing? We are now counting the unique ID. So if I were to run this, all right, this actually gave me 22. Remember that this one gave me what? 38. Let's run it. Remember, it gave me 38. So basically, this is telling me that, okay, there are 38 transactions, right? But if you actually want to know all our clients that are in US, let's run this. Now, this is basically telling me that, okay, we have 22 customer in USA. Do we get this? Now you can, do you understand the way I'm breaking it down for you now? Do you understand the way I'm breaking it down? Yes or no? Let's talk. Do we understand? All right. Now, you see the reason why I don't use count, right, Mr. Daniel? Now, if you look at this title that we have here, it does not really make sense. It's showing count, distinct, customer ID. Actually, for a normal person looking at this, the person will be like, "Ah, what is this now? It doesn't mean we don't really understand it." The same thing with this, select count. If you look, it's giving me count asterisk. For someone that actually does not know anything about SQL, the person will not get the meaning, right? The person will actually not understand what this is all about if we did not put this comment. How can we now change this title that we have here? How can we change it? We are now going to use the as statement, right? We are going to use the as statement. So paste it here. So here, so what we want to do here is giving our title, giving our column title. All right, so using the as statement. All right, so now what we want to do here is, okay, now count distinct customer ID. What do we want? We want to use it as total customer, right? Total customer. So we now say as what? As, in a quote, as total customer. So instead of having count distinct customer ID, so it will now replace it with as total customer, or we can say total number of customer. Whatever you want to put, you can actually put it right there, right? So let me run. Now you can see instead of us to have count distinct customer ID, right? Because we use the as statement here, it's changed it to total customer for us. Do we understand? Do we understand? Yes or no? Do we understand? All right. That's good. That's good. So let's select, let's give two criteria, right? Let's give two criteria. So basically, when we are dealing with the where statement, right? The where statement, there are two things we work with. So we work with and then or. These are the two things that we work with. So you can either use and or. So those are the two things that you can use, right? Now, let's write the code with the and statement, and I'm going to explain the two for you now. I'm going to explain where to use the two and when to use it. So let's say they said we should select, let's see all the countries available now. Let's run our select statement. I'm going to just write it down here. Let's see all our available column. Select all from retail, right? All right, so we have gender. Okay, we have the country, and we have the product ID and the likes. But let's say we want to select um the customer that comes from USA or Brazil, where their gender is equals to male. So that is, select all our customer, select all the customer, select all the customer, all the male customer, right? That comes from USA or Brazil. Now, if you notice, I use or here. Now, if you are dealing with one column, whenever you are dealing with one column, you use the or statement. Do you understand? Whenever you are dealing with just one column, that is, you want to bring out a criteria and you want to bring out two criteria in one column, right? So that is when you use the or statement. Now, what do I mean by that? If I said USA and Brazil, there's nobody that will come from USA and also come from Brazil. Do you get it? So it's not going to be USA or Brazil. But let's write the code and see if I'm correct or not. Select all from retail, right? Where gender is equals to male, right? Where gender is equals to male. This will give me all the male customer that come. This will give me just only the male customer, right? But now what we need is not just the male customer. They said is either they come from USA or Brazil. So, and country is equals to USA or country is equals to Brazil. Now let's run this and see. Now you can see this gives me only USA and Brazil. Here we have female. All right, why do we have that? I'm going to actually cut this out because and if in the when dealing with condition, I'm going to put this in brackets, put this condition in bracket, then the and comes next, and gender is equals to male. Let's rerun it and see. All right, now this gave me only male. Remember, the very first one gave me female, right? So now, where do we put that? Because we want to check this first, right? So we are in one column, we are checking for Brazil and we are checking for USA, right? In another column, we are checking for male. So the reason why I put this in brackets is to just segregate it so that we know that, okay, oh, this is checking for USA or Brazil, and this is checking for the gender. Now, if you notice, I use the and statement here because if you are dealing with two or more columns, we can use the and, right? Someone can come from Brazil and also be a male, right? But we can't say where country is USA and country is Brazil because it's not possible for you to come from USA and also come from Brazil. But currently now we can say it's a bit possible now that we are doing dual citizenship and stuff, right? You can have Ed team is raising hand. Please unmute. Madam Mr. Edit or Madam Edit. Go ahead, please. Hello. Hello, you can speak. Well, I can't hear you. Can anybody hear him or her? I don't know. Is there anybody that can hear him or her? Nope. All right. Thank you, Laura. So, if you can type in your question, I will appreciate it. All right. So, do we understand this, or you like me to explain it again? If you are using the or statement, right, you will use it's dealing within a column, right? Now, if you are using the and statement, you are dealing with more than one column, two or more. Do we understand it? Do we understand this? Do we understand? Can you change it vice versa? Like You can actually put this also in front. It's a choice. You can put it in front also, because now, if you notice, this is now in brackets, right? Is now in brackets. This is now in brackets, so you can put it here. So because this is now in brackets, you can use your hand here. What if you omit the bracket? It's going to give you wrong information. It's going to give you wrong information. Now, if you notice, because these two are in one column, right? So that is why, if I should remove the bracket now, look at what will happen. It's going to give me another thing. Now, you notice there is a female right here. There is a female right here. So when dealing with and with or is more powerful than and, or is more powerful than and, right? You'll understand this more when we get to Python. There is something like true or false, true and false, right? So in some instance, and or is more powerful than and. So in this case now, the or overshadow the and here. So now, just like in the rule of BODMAS, you put your bracket. So you want it to deal with the one in bracket first, right? So basically what you're telling SQL is these two, right? They are one condition, right? Treat it as one, right? Then after that, check this for me. Is for combination two or yes, two or more in the same column. In the same column, right? But if you are dealing with multiple columns, that is when you now use and. Now I can't say where gender is equals to male or the country is Brazil. It doesn't really correlate, right? So within a column, you want to check more than one condition, then you use the or. But outside of one column, you are dealing with multiple columns, you use and. That is, you are telling it must meet this criteria. Check this column and also check this other column. Do you get it? Do we understand this now? Do we understand? Yes or no? So that we can move forward to the next thing. Yes, both conditions must be met. If you look at this now, it met the both condition. It met the two conditions. So what we are looking for is male in either USA or Brazil. And that's exactly what it gave us. Do we understand? All right. So you can actually still write more condition with this. So we can say, okay, where all their quantity is above, let's say 20, right? Where all quantity is above, is either 20 and above. Is 20 and above. Do you understand? Is 20 and above. So where and quantity is greater than or equals to 20, right? Greater than or equals to 20. I should explain which one again. This, right? So here, what we are doing here is we are looking for all the mail that come from USA or Brazil. So they have to be either USA or Brazil. So what we are doing here is we are treating it at once here. So you are telling SQL this is dealing with one column, right? But in this place, you are checking two conditions. So the person must either come from USA or Brazil, but they must be the customer must be male. Do you understand? So we are doing select all from retail where gender is equals to male, right? Where the gender is equals to male and country is equals to USA or country is equals to Brazil. Now, you can't do country is equals to USA also in bracket comma Brazil. It's going to give you an error, right? It's going to give you an error. So if you want to check more than two criteria in a column, right? There's another way of doing that. We are going to get there. Do you understand? So, but if you are using the where statement, right, you can do it like this, right? Now, if you get to a situation whereby the countries now becomes much, they're asking you to look for 5, 6 country. Obviously, you can't be writing it like this, right? So there is a shorter way of writing it. So now, Anyton, do you understand? So, all right. So the next thing now they ask us to do, can we have two and function? Yes, you can have and you can have more than two self, right? That's why I want to do this, right? So now what they ask us to do is select all male customer that comes from USA or Brazil and the quantity is greater than or equals to 20. Quantity is greater than or equals to 20. So now we can now put that condition here. You can now say and quantity quantity is greater than or equals to 20. Now you can see I have two and here, right, with one or statement. So let's run this code and see. Control enter. Now this give me all the ones that their quantity is 20 and above. The quantity is 20 and above. So you can have as many conditions as possible. You can use and if you are referring to different columns. Yes, that's what I said. You use and if you are dealing with multiple column. You use or if you are dealing with just one single column. Right? So you can't say where country is equals to Brazil or quantity is greater than 20. It doesn't really make any sense. Do you understand? So if you are dealing with a single column, you use the or statement. If you are dealing with multiple columns, you use the and statement. Or one condition must be met. It's not a more. It's not if you are using only the or statement and you are not using and, right? So you don't need to put it in bracket. But because I'm using the and statement here, right? I'm using other clause with it. So that's why I put it in a bracket so that it treats it as one. So this is one clause, right? This is another clause here. So this one now becomes one clause because it's in a bracket. All right. Let's move forward to the next thing. Let's go into a bit of aggregation. Now, let's see what we have inside the aggregation. We've done distinct, right? We've done distinct. Let's go. They said mean, max, count. We've done count, right? Okay, let's talk about mean, max, sum, and average. Then tomorrow we are going to start from group by, order by, or if time permits us, we can still do what is this name? We can do order by and group by. So now the question is, they ask us to select the lowest quantity. The lowest quantity in USA. What is the lowest quantity? So gets the lowest quantity in USA. So what is the lowest quantity in USA? Right? We have a lot of clients from USA. Now, what is the lowest quantity? That is the lowest quantity purchased. The lowest quantity purchased. Right? So let's do that. Select, we can now do mean. Minimum of what? Minimum quantity. Select minimum quantity from our what? Let's say as lowest quantity. Let's say QTY, lowest quantity. So let's say USA lowest quantity from our table name retail. From our table name retail. So select the lowest quantity from our table name retail. So let me run this. And here you can see USA lowest quantity is, sorry, we did not put the condition, right? We did not put the condition. So we can now say where country is equals to where USA. So where quantity is equals to USA. All right, so let's put it. Still the same thing. USA has the lowest quantity of 1, right? USA has the lowest quantity of 1. All right, so now let's get the maximum quantity. That is the highest quantity in USA. That's how we use mean. Mean stands for minimum. Let's get the maximum. So the highest quantity. So what we're going to do is just change this mean to max, right? Maximum quantity in USA. So we are going to change this one from lowest to highest. From lowest to highest. Then we run. And this tells me that the USA highest quantity is 28. Hope you are getting this. Are we getting this? Awesome. All right. All right, so now let's get the total quantity, right? What is the total quantity? Now, we are not using condition now. We want to get the total quantity. That is the total quantity. The total quantity. Does it mean that min and max return like count? No. Minimum is looking for the lowest quantity. What is the lowest quantity? Out of all the quantity, which customer buys the lowest? Right? Which customer buys the lowest? So which means the customer that ordered the lowest ordered just one quantity. It's just like, okay, you went to buy, let's say, what can we use? Let's say you went to buy, give me an example now, a product. Let's say you went to buy, what can we use? Um, let's say you are selling a smartphone and you went to store to get some, right? So you buy one. That is one, right? Sneakers, yes, fine. You buy one. That is one. Now, the quantity is talking about how many do you buy? So you buy two, you buy three, you buy four, five, six, seven, right? Those are the quantity. Now, if you're looking for the lowest quantity in USA, we don't care about the product, right? What is the lowest quantity that a client from USA purchased? Do you understand? What is the lowest quantity that a client in USA purchased? Do you understand? The same thing with the max, the highest quantity. So can you add a clause where customer with the lowest or to see the customer with the lowest and the highest? Obviously you can, right? You can. But the way it works is we have to use the group by function, right? We have to use the group by function. So we are going to do that tomorrow. We have to use the group by function. But I'm not done with this aggregation for now. So we will use the group by function with it. Because if I should say, okay, select the customer's name, or let's say the customer's name underscore name, comma, and the maximum quantity, this should throw in an error in aggregation query without group by, in aggregated query without group by. So whenever we are dealing with aggregation, we have to use group by. When you want to select more than one column, you use group by. Do you understand? So, but for now, we are dealing with only that result. So we are not taking it by each country. Do you get it now? So we don't need group by. We are not using group by for now. All right. So let's move to the next thing. Now we want to see the total quantity, total of all the quantity. If they sum up all the quantities together, what is the total? Right? Let me select all again. Select all. So if I add all this quantity that we have here, all this quantity 28, 13, 15, 17, 12, and the likes. So if I'm to add all of them together, what is the total quantity? What is the total? What is the summation? Right? So let's do that. I can do select sum all the quantity for me. Sum all the quantity for me as, so here, what we want to do here is get the total quantity, not USA, get the total quantity, right? Select the sum of quantity as what? Total quantity from retail, right? Select the sum, that is the sum of all the quantity as what? Total quantity. So if I'm to run this will tell me that, okay, the total quantity, right, is 3,132, right? 3,132. Do we get this? 3,132. Do we understand this? Any question on this? Now, you can put your condition now. You can now say, okay, the total quantity of Brazil, right? Get the total quantity for all the customers in Brazil. Total quantity for all the customers in Brazil, right? So here now you can now put your condition where country is equals to Brazil, right? Where, or let's make it a bit dynamic. Let's say get the total quantity for all the male in Brazil, for all male in Brazil, or let's say female, because we used male earlier. So let's say female. So here we can now say and gender is equals to what? Female. And gender is equals to female. Now this one will give me the total quantity for all female in Brazil, right? So let's run. This gives us the result of 156. Any question on this? Do we have any question? Do we have any question on this? Let me know if you have any question, or do you have any question, any question, any question? It's clear. All right, so let's do one more thing. Let's do average, right? Let's do average. So let's do average, right? Which is the last thing we are going to do today, right? Let's do average. So this as is like title of what? Yeah, you give the column a title right here. So you can just change it from total quantity to Brazil female total quantity. Then we run. So now you can see Brazil female. Brazil female total quantity. Now you can see it here. How about the date issue? Mr. Emeka's iPhone. Chill. We are not even doing dates tomorrow. That is until next week. So don't still leave the date for now. We will get there. You need the Power BI notes. I don't know if it's with me. I don't know. I'll check. Is the date doing anything for you, Mr. Emeka? Hmm? Is the date doing anything for you? Hmm? So leave it alone. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. God will help us. Hmm? When we get there, we'll cross it. Date, time is money. Oh. Okay, I've heard you. You have projects, but I can't. Is handling a date project for a client. Mr. Emeka, is that correct? Is that correct? If you're handling a date client, a date project for a client, let me know so that I will collect my share. Uh, okay, let me please unmute.
No, it's not true because the only issue is that since I've been wanting to resolve it and I was unable to resolve it, it's keeping me. In fact, I will lose interest in getting all that things resolved
Don't worry, you
because.
can get all this one resolved. Leave the date first. We will get to the date. Do you understand?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
we'll do it next week when we are dealing with data cleaning with SQL.
okay,
Yeah.
bye.
All right. You said no, right? You don't want me to know if you are doing projects, so that you don't want to give me my own share. Abby, well done. All right. So let's do average. Don't mind him now. He said no. He does not want to give me my own share. And don't worry, I will catch you. All right. Let's do the last thing. Get the average profits. Let's do the average profit. All right. What is the average profit? So we can do select average. Average is AVG. Select average AVG. Average what? Profits. Average profits as what? As average profits from retail. Close the code, run it. And this gives me the average profit, which is a mess. It's a mess. So what we can do is we can round it. We can say round. Okay, let me put it right down here. So let's round it to like 2 decimal place. So we can now say round it to comma 2 decimal place. So round the average profit to 2 decimal place. Run. And here we have it. If you wanted to round it as whole number, just put 0 here. You can see it's going to put it as whole number, but I want it to round it to 2 decimal place. My face, they show how. Do we understand? Do we understand? Now, let me take 1 or 2 questions. If you have question, suggestion, opinion, anything, let me take. So this is where we're going to stop today. I'm going to drop the script for you in the group. So tomorrow we are going to take in an assignment, right? But I'm going to drop this script in your group now after the class. So if you have a question, a suggestion that you want to talk about, so let's have that now before we call it a day. We have that the sell by or sell B.
Yeah, Selby. Selby is the
Selby.
name. Yeah, Selby.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks also for all what you've done. And the last statement that you just made, the run clause, I was just asking that when we were doing our, what is the name? Our when we were entering the data types, the data types.
Hmm.
Uh, Could it be that we could have done it that way before we come here to make the profit maybe around? I don't know how to
No,
put the question,
no,
but
no, 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 no. This is not dealing with the data type. We are getting the
okay.
average. Average tends to have more of decimal. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand, but I'm looking at the situation maybe in Excel. Like if I want my decimal place to be 2 or 1, I will change
Hmm.
it before even analyzing it to maybe average so that I can get that decimal point. But this one I'm getting a lot of decimal points, and I'm asking that the data types that were like maybe double or maybe you're using
Decimal.
decimals, and we can state it that maybe 2 decimal places so that the SQL will take that
No,
every year. That's what I'm finding, whether it's
no,
possible
no,
that way.
no, no. Even if you change even if the data is of 2 decimal, this is not stored in a column, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
calculating the data in a column and showing you the result. So it's going to return the results in decimal too. So you are the
Okay,
one that will now run the results.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. My humble suggestion is that when class is off for maybe even 1 or 2 days, sometimes it's difficult. So if it's
yeah,
like a whole 2 weeks, class is not coming off. I
yeah,
know that it's not deliberate. There
yeah.
are things that you might. So will it be best that if something of this nature will happen, you can even just give us an assignment, not hard, an assignment that some of us can realize, or even though some of us have been doing and learning our own, but I think maybe for example, what you are teaching today, if we could have given us prior notice, oh, this is what we are going to, then we will learn around that area. If class is not coming on, that is what I mean. Then we
Yeah,
can
I
learn around that
understand.
area. So when it comes, yeah, so
Yeah.
that is what I'm just suggesting that if we can take a look of that for us.
Yeah, I understand. I'm very sorry for that once again, but I was planning to take that class on Friday. Right. I did not even have it in mind that I was not going to take it, but it hit me so hard on was it on Wednesday or Thursday? I can't remember. That I even had to postpone my data science. I do have data science class on Thursday, so I had to postpone it. So I was like, okay, maybe I will get better on Friday then. Well, that Friday, I was so down, and I had to travel on Saturdays to get treatment and the like. So that's why I was unable to attend to my phone that much. So that was what happened.
Okay.
All right. I'm very
So,
sorry for that.
okay, thank you very much. Oh,
All
no
right.
problem. Though, and just a suggestion.
I understand. Thank you for that suggestion. Is there any other person, suggestion, questions, opinion? Before it requires a lot of practice. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Laura, thank you for that. Thank you. we are yet to leave, we are yet, we are not yet at the level of importing data from the database. Importing or exporting data from the database. Can you rewind the save mode? Mr. Daniel, if you can partition your laptop, installing it on Mac can be a bit stressful. So if you can partition your laptop to have window, then you can go ahead with that. You'll be able to install it. Now this is the set SQL save mode, right? This is it here for you to turn off the save mode. So you just say set SQL underscore save underscore updates with S equals to 0. That will turn off your save mode. All right. Is there any other question? Any other question? What is the use of save mode? I explained it the last time I took it. I said the save mode help you to avoid mistakes when updating or deleting information for the first time, right? So you have to turn it off so you don't mistakenly delete information or update information. So if you are on a save mode, you won't be able to update or delete information. Do you get it? So if you turn it off, that's when you'll be able to do those things. Do you understand? So that's when you'll be able to do those things. So it's just helping you to avoid mistakes of deleting or doing something. Do you get it? So you can turn it on or you turn it off. So the moment if you close your workbench, right, it automatically turns on the moment you open it again. So which means you have to rerun this set SQL save underscore update equals 0. You have to rerun it. All right, is there any other question? Do we have any other question? All right, so that means there is no any other question, right? So I'm going to drop this script in the group. So let's try to practice with this. Let's read the code so that we understand it very well. Okay, Mr. Emmanuel is raising hand. Please unmute. Oh, we are looking at rounding up next week.
Please don't forget what's happening.
I should not forget what?
Please don't forget to let me drop the Power BI on our group chat.
The Power BI. All
Note.
right. I'll check for it on my laptop and drop it for you in the group. If I don't drop it today, I'll drop it tomorrow. All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So SQL class is not so much since we are not going deep like that deep in SQL. So we have just a few things to cover. So tomorrow we will do group by, order by, having clause and the likes. We've done as already. So we'll do in, right? We are going to do those two, right? So all these are what we are going to do tomorrow. So then next week we'll do data cleaning. All these ones, they are what we are going to do next week. They are what we are going to do next week. And by next week, we should be looking at rounding up. We are going to stop at CTE. That's where we are going to stop, right? The question was in case a client gave us a job and the data to analyze is in database. Yeah, I'm still going to show you how to connect database to SQL, how to connect your database to Power BI or Excel. You know, you can import data directly from your database into Excel or Power BI. So we are going to talk about that. All right. What of join? Yeah, we'll do join. We'll do join. We'll do join. We'll do union. They are here. We are going to do join. If you go through this slide, you'll see them there. We are going to do case, nested query or subquery, join, union. We are going to talk about that. Then the last thing is CTE. So next week, we are looking at rounding up by the special grace of God. So you'll be preparing for your exam. All right, so that is that for tonight. If you have any question, feel free to let me know, right? And you can jot down your question so that I'll be able to answer all in tomorrow's class, that is on Saturday. Then, in the absence of no question, thank you all for joining tonight's class. Just want to tell us that let's keep practicing, let's keep studying so that we can become a better version of ourselves. So that is the only time you can be good is if you are consistent with study, right? Tech is not something you can do and just leave it like that, right? So just try to keep practicing and keep practicing and keep practicing and learn. All right. Thank you, sir. Please don't fall sick again. I won't. I won't. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you and see you in class tomorrow by the special grace of God. Good night and have a wonderful night rest. You need my LinkedIn name. My LinkedIn name should be Sani Akim. I think so. But I will check it and maybe tomorrow. But check it. It should be that. Or Akim Abiodun, any of the two. I can't remember. All right. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.